Today's video is sponsored by Fixture Gaming. As much as I love using the Nintendo Switch as a portable, something that has always been an ongoing problem a lot of people have is comfort with its handheld mode. The Joy-Cons attached to the side, while working as controllers, don't really end up making for the most comfortable gameplay experience, especially over prolonged periods of time. And this is obviously an issue for a lot of people because some of the most popular accessories out there are all different ways of fixing this, whether that's adding a grip design to the body of the Switch or replacing the Joy-Cons with larger, more comfortable Joy-Cons. There's one option that I was never really a huge fan of normally, but I've just tried out a newer version of it that honestly I really like, which is the S1 from Fixture Gaming. Look, we had the opening disclosure, this is a sponsored video, but honestly, the only reason why we're even doing this is because they actually sent a unit out for me to try out and use for a while first before actually committing to doing the spot, and honestly, I did really grow to love this product for a number of reasons, and let's go over what those are. Now, first off, like I mentioned, I don't normally like phone clip style editions like this, but the reason why is normally when you use them, it's forcefully set up in this style of position where you have to hold the controller with the screen above it and you feel this constant weight and pull of the Switch that's just not comfortable. It normally works on phones because phones are lighter and you're not feeling that same kind of push happening, but with the size of the Switch main body, it's a much different story. Where the S1 is different for this though is that instead of having just a single stock up that keeps the screen above and is locked in position that way, only giving the ability to bend like this, the Fixture is actually a double joint design, and so the intended style of playing is not like this, but instead like this. The idea behind this is that instead of having the screen up above the controller where it's having that weird weight distribution and you're feeling the pull of the tablet, instead now by placing it above the controller, it's more evenly distributed. Now, of course, this is specifically for when I'm holding controller down like this, but if you're laying down, playing sideways, all other kinds of other positions, you can adjust this to just the right angle to where it actually feels a lot more comfortable. And one of the really big benefits of doing this is that instead of having to rely on, say, a third-party Joy-Con that might end up having issues, you can instead rely on using an official Switch Pro controller, which at the end of the day ends up actually being a lot more comfortable than a traditional Joy-Con setup. I've said it many times before, I'm not a big fan of using Joy-Cons in the grip, I just don't find that to be a comfortable controller, and Joy-Cons overall, while they get the job done, just really aren't the best control option out there. So being able to revert to a Pro controller, which is a more traditional style of control outline that feels way more comfortable and familiar, ends up working out really nicely. Another thing I really like about this design, by the way, is that a lot of other cheaper options out there that incorporate using, again, the kind of phone clip design would rely on just having that clamp approach that would hold the Switch in place, and honestly, that stuff scares me. I've never been a fan of that approach because it doesn't feel like the Switch tablet is very secure. Even when it has really good rubber stops, it just feels as if at any moment the right pressure could cause it to pop out and go flying out of the clamp, or if you were to, say, have an accident, hit something, it pushes it out of it. Just not something I ever felt very secure using, whereas the Fixture instead makes use of the built-in rail system of the Switch and instead has you slide it onto this very secure clamp right here, which also has a pair of plastic stoppers that help apply that extra friction and pressure to keep it in place. And really, this is stuck in here. I know some of you might be seeing how the rail is coming up this way and oh no, what if it falls out? It's not going to. This is very secure in there and it takes quite a bit of actual applied pressure to pull the Switch tablet out, so you know it's safely locked in place, so you don't have to worry about it somehow just popping off like a clamp might have. The tight fit on both the controller and the tablet does result in something that feels like one solid piece. A lot of times when you have an attachment like this, you can tell that things are not all completely as secure as they should be, and it feels like multiple pieces held together. While it's in this configuration, it absolutely feels like one solid piece, which is a great feeling and allows you to have that comfort of using a Pro controller on the go with your system. Where I've really and particularly found a lot of love of using this is in those games where I do just end up preferring the use of a Pro controller, but I would also like the flexibility of being able to play those games on the go as well. A really good example of this would be something like, say, Monster Hunter, where you need to have that kind of coordination to play, and I like having the comfort of a proper Pro controller on hand, so I have been playing it docked a lot more often than other titles, but I would also appreciate the ability to play it on the go sometimes, and so having access to both a controller and this portable setup is just a really nice combination that I wasn't really previously able to do. By the way, if you're wondering how you're supposed to be able to carry around this whole setup and bring it with you places, they actually do also sell a carrying case that's designed to fit the Switch tablet while it is currently attached to the controller, while still having some of the additional slots that most carrying cases have, like places to store game carts and a little pouch area to store a charger. There is one drawback I feel is necessary to talk about, which is the fact that the tight fit on both the controller and the tablet does come with the drawback of leaving some light marks. Now, on the Switch tablet itself, it's actually very minor. It's specifically the rubber stoppers on the back just leave this very vague trail that you can mostly wipe away, actually, but even when you do that, you get these very light track marks from where the plastic are that just is permanently on there. It's not a huge deal to me personally. It really doesn't bother me because at the end of the day, this is a very comfortable setup. But if you do have like a special edition system, or you're very particular about keeping your system in the most pristine condition possible, this is something you should be aware of. Now, the controller, on the other hand, is one that is more avoidable, but if you're not careful, can lead to more noticeable kinds of marks. Specifically, if you remove the controller by trying to just pop this top part off, that feels like the easiest way to add and remove it, but what you end up doing is causing these light surface scratches on the top of your controller. Again, it's all a purely cosmetic thing that doesn't affect any of the actual functions of the controller, but if you have a special edition design, I can see how that would be frustrating. So it's much better to try and stick to a regular controller if you care about the effects of wear and tear. Also, this is a more avoidable thing by loading it in the fixture by slotting it under there and pushing the bottom part down first, and when you want to take it off, remove the bottom part first, as that will cause less of those marks in my experience. I know for some of you this is a frustrating trade-off, but honestly I do feel like it is one that is somewhat necessary, in that the reason why this is happening is, again, because of that very tight fit on the controller and keeping the Switch tablet very safe and snug. Because while those surface marks might be annoying to some people, it is way less of a problem, in my opinion, than to, say, have your Switch tablet pop off in the middle of gameplay and smack the floor. While obviously the main focus of the S1 is being used as a way of using a controller with the Switch tablet, there is an additional use for it that I think is worth pointing out, which is an alternative to desktop mode. I have made it no secret in the past how much I hate the Switch's kickstand. One of the biggest reasons why I'm excited for the OLED model is that it has replaced that kickstand design, which I'm looking very much forward to. But with the current Switches we have, it's just awful. It does not support the Switch very well, it snaps off very easily, it's a problem. And so that has kept me from playing stuff in desktop mode nearly as often. What the S1 allows you to do, though, is that if you don't slot a controller and instead just have the system slotted into it, you can then have it stand up, is that this acts as a different way of setting up in desktop mode that is much more stable and easy to use. Speaking of the OLED model Switch, if that's something that you have pre-ordered or you're thinking about grabbing, do note that it has a slightly different body design from the current Switch, so the current S1 might not actually work with that. Fixture is currently looking into whether or not this current design will work, or if they have to design something else down the line to work with it, so if you're gonna grab that model, keep this in mind and keep your eyes open. Like I said at the top end of this video, there are multiple different ways to address the comfort issues of the Switch in handheld mode. The reason why this one really does stand out to me is that Pro Controller functionality, because at the end of the day, there are just certain games where even if I am playing on the go and I am trying to play in a slightly more relaxed position, ultimately having access to a traditional Pro Controller just allows me to get the best gameplay experience out, because I am more coordinated and better at playing on those than I am on using Joy-Cons or some kind of third-party use. Because look, as a console player, I've grown up playing on controllers constantly, and at the end of the day, that is the most comfortable method for me to use. If you guys are interested in grabbing the S1, I do have a link down below in the description, and if you purchase it from their website, you can use the promo code Kenson to save $5 off your order. I want to thank Fixture Gaming again for sending this out for me to try out, as well as sponsoring today's video, and I will see you guys later.